We're back.
We're here. We made it. We made it on time. We might even be a little bit early. And hopefully everything's working here. I got my phone and I'm just going to check and see if we're showing up live on here. If you are joining us live for Creative Connections, thank you so much. It's my birthday, so like put some happy birthday emojis in the comments there. That would be appreciated. And just, say hi, where you're from, all that jazz. Still trying to see if there we are.
Yep.
Okay.
We're up and we're running. We got 2.
Wonderful.
That's us probably.
Okay. Can you give us, if you're there, can you give us a like? Yeah. Thumbs up. Let's see. And we'll see if we start getting any comments. We'll give a couple minutes to get going. Like I said, it's my birthday and also Terry's. What are you doing?
Picture's crooked.
The picture's crooked or the laptop's crooked. I'm not sure. Anyways.
It'll grab people's attention.
Yeah.
That's what crooked pictures do.
Yes. Okay, so we are here for Creative Connections. This is the second one we've had this month. And we've started doing these on Facebook Live. We're the first and third Thursday of every month at 4 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. That's Halifax.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can, Google your time zone and see when it would be at your time. If you can't join us live, then it'll be the recording will be on Facebook.
Yeah.
As is the raw live recording. Or if you really don't want to suffer through that, we will be within the week uploading to YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we'll post it back on here probably, but and it'll be on the website too under news and events. Always go to news and events on our website. That's https christianartcreations.com.
.com. Yeah, not .com.
.com. Yes. And we're on, like I said, we're on YouTube. So we're recording this and then we'll upload it to YouTube. So our follow us on YouTube. We're on Instagram as well, Christian Art Creations. And great.
Yep.
Okay. So
it's a beautiful day here in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. That's where we're broadcasting from. And spring's coming here. We're about a month behind the rest of Canada, or southern Ontario anyways.
Yeah.
And so we're just starting to get buds on the trees.
I don't think there's any more snow.
Just parking lots with that big pile.
A few little chunks here and there.
But most of it's gone.
Most of it is gone.
And so
we're starting to think about putting in gardens.
Yep.
I'm thinking about putting in an herb garden, and I want to get into making some of our own home remedies and medicines and things like that. And I already do cultures, kefir and kombucha, and
kefir's good. It just will lose sugar in it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I started apple cider vinegar now, doing my own culture of that, and so that's pretty cool. So next thing is to try to get more and more natural. And so try to get away from popping the Advil when we get a headache, and maybe have a cup of specialized herbal tea or a tincture or something that we can take. So those are all things that I'm supposed to keep my hands down because I always shake the table.
Yeah.
So this discussion that we're going to do this week is called No Time to Create. Who can identify with that? If you were commenting, we'd be getting all kinds of, like thumbs up emojis, me too, and all this, because that is, it's probably the number one thing that we hear from creatives: no time to create. There is there's always all kinds of things why I have no time to create.
Yeah.
It's, well, I work full time, or I have little kids, or this and that and the other thing. There's always something. But the fact is, it's all about priority.
Yes. There's that word.
Yeah. And I heard, I was listening to one of Matt Tommy's interviews with someone recently. I can't remember her name, but she had said, what you need to do is give yourself permission to create first, because you can't prioritize something until you give yourself permission. And so if you're thinking, oh, well, this is just for me, and then you feel like you're selfish if you're, if you don't do everything else first. And then, if there's any time and energy left over, maybe then you will create, and you keep, and I know I did that for decades, really, and so did you.
Yeah.
And you put it off and you put it off and you put it off because you don't think that it's worth the time, or that you're worth the time. And there's we can say more about that. You are worth the time.
Yes, you are.
And the gift that God has put in you.
Yep.
He's put that there for you to use it. Like, you think of, if you gave someone you love a gift that you knew they would really enjoy, and they set it on a shelf and said, well, I don't think I'm worthy to really to play with that toy or whatever. I don't think I'm worthy of that. And how it would really break your heart, because you gave that to them for their enjoyment. And everyone is creative in some way or another, whether it's cooking or organizing or painting or whatever it is. Everyone has some form of creativity in them, because we're created in the image of the Creator. Yeah. It's who He is. He's a creator. If we're created in His image, we have creativity within us. And if we deny ourselves creative expression, we end up soul starved. And that's not a good place to be. That's not healthy. So we took some notes. We were talking about this last week, and I kind of interviewed Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I asked him what he does to make sure that he has time on a regular basis to create.
Yeah. It's true. And it's a matter of prioritizing my time. And I found the best part of the day for me is in the evening, when everything settles down and I shut off all distractions, my phone, put it off to the side, except put some worship music on. And that's what helps motivates me, is that's one time in the evening. I might even get 5 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending how late we go to bed. And then I will take that time and just do something to get my creativity inspired and get it rolling.
Yeah. So like Terry was saying, the number one thing is give yourself permission to prioritize your creativity, your creative time. Then prioritize it.
Yeah.
And you might have to let other people around you know that this is something that's really important to you.
I'm smiling because we have Teresa has a way letting us know, and her office is.
Should I go get Flip?
Go get Flip.
Go get Flip.
Go get the bird. Teresa's office is down in our basement. It's kind of semi-finished, and her desk and her creativity is all down there. So on the basement door, she got this idea.
Okay, so to preface this, for years and years, I tried to get it through to my family that it's really important when I'm writing that they not interrupt me. because when I write fiction, and when I write, I immerse myself into the scene. I'm almost like in a trance-like state.
Yeah.
So if you would consider, if you're dreaming and you're having a really good dream and somebody comes and shakes you awake and you're like, oh, I want to get back to that dream, and it's near impossible to get back to the dream. So it's something like that. So they would come down and think, well, I'm only going to interrupt you for 10 seconds, but how long does it take me to get back into that scene where I was at? So interruptions are, for me, it's very disruptive. So what I did is Terry said, well, why don't you get a sign for the door? And so I went to the dollar store and found a bird-shaped sign. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Yep.
I found a bird-shaped sign, and I love birds. So I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to use for my sign. And then, so what I did is I just painted one side black. I probably could have just left it with the wood, but whatever, I painted it black. And the other side, I did an acrylic pour on. So it's all nice and colorful and fancy, to let them know when this side is showing, I'm creating, and please do not disturb me. So, so it's worked really well. And one day, our son came down to me and he goes, so you're going to flip as the bird today, Mom? So I don't know if you are familiar with that expression, but we thought it was kind of funny. So he got the name Flip. That's Flip the bird. So prioritizing, and also what Terry mentioned, scheduling. So he figured out what was the best time of the day for him to create. And he found it was at the end of the day. So does that affect what time you get ready for bed or anything?
Yeah, it means I have to go to bed earlier because we have a nighttime routine. We pray and we read the scriptures together. And so we talk a little bit. So we have to start getting ready for bed early.
Yes. Yeah. So that means that, between 9 and 10, we're settling down for the night, because, that gives him, usually, unless he's super tired, that gives him a little bit of time to be able to work on his drawing.
And I might work on it for about an hour if I get a lot of creative inspiration or I'm tired. So.
Yeah. So the thing is a lot of creative people don't see how you can schedule creativity, because they feel like, well, I have to be in the mood to create. So we've talked about what things we can do if we're just not in the mood at all. We scheduled the time, we're just not feeling it. And other than walking away and forgetting it and not doing it, what are some ways that things that you do to help jumpstart your inspiration or creativity?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I'm fine when I'm really not feeling the inspiration. I like to put on some instrumental or some really intimate worship music. And I just take some time over the Lord and I pray, look, if you're in this, Lord, just show me how to do this, give me the ability to draw this fashion. And sometimes I'll just start doodling. I call it spiritual doodling, where I just draw lines, circles, or little swirls, and I keep going with that. And that at times helps kickstart my creativity and gets me going. And that's a couple things I do right there for that. And I also try to shut my phone off except for the music. I won't listen. I just turn it backwards so I can't see the face. I put it on mute, and that way I don't get easily distracted.
Yeah, you also mentioned that that you might start with doing some touch-ups on what you've been working.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, like I work on really detailed drawings, so I will look at it and go over it and see if there's anything that needs touch-up done on it, like deepening a line or the heaviness of a line on my, because I do a lot of drawing, and one of the ones right behind here, you can see a lot of details in it. And so I take my time and I just look at what can be touched up, and usually I find things that can be touched up, and
Mhm.
that gets me going too.
I do something similar with my writing is
What's that?
I will go back and read what I wrote my last writing session,
Right,
and I'll just do little touch-ups and revisions in there. And that helps get me back into the story
right.
so that I can
Okay.
do the story. Another thing that we had talked about last week, this is just our practice run we're referring to. We did a practice run and did some notes. So another thing that we had talked about are different types of art take more or less prep and
Oh,
cleanup time.
yes.
Yeah.
That for me, for drawing, it's a pencil on paper. I just put it down and I grab it and start drawing, but you can't always do that if that's not the medium you use.
Mhm.
If you're acrylic or oil painter, then watercolor, there's setup time and then there's cleanup time.
Mhm.
And that could be a challenge. That's something you have to be
Yeah.
work on and figure out how to best
Yeah.
do that for yourself.
So some ideas are if you only do that kind of art that takes a lot of setup and cleanup, and say you're working 5 days a week full time, and it's not going to be till Saturday that you're going to be able to have a block of time where you can actually paint. What are some things that you can do to kind of keep your inspiration going? One is go for a walk. Take your phone or your camera to see if there's things that catch your eye that you might want to paint, that you can take photographs of. You could watch some painting tutorials.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets the juices going, like, oh, makes me feel like painting, right? So find somebody who does tutorials that maybe well, I guess what inspires one person doesn't inspire another, but I like to watch things that are kind of quick and fun, more than watching something that's really heavy and technical.
Yeah.
If I'm just needing a little bit of a boost, a little bit of inspiration, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll get on the treadmill and I'll put a YouTube video on my iPad, and it sits there on my treadmill. And so I'm exercising, which I have to do anyways. And then I'm also exercising my mind and boosting my
Yeah.
creativity by watching, and it's relaxing too, watching an art tutorial, or even just watching somebody create art
Mhm.
can inspire you to want to do something. I do paint myself as well, but my main thing is writing. So one thing that I might do to help inspire me to write is to read good fiction, especially between books. I find it's good to do that. I don't often like to do too much of it when I'm right in the middle of coming up with my story. Once I've got my story set, I've got my outline and everything, then I can read other fiction. But I don't want to influence my own writing too much and end up
Right. Yeah.
I want my own ideas
Yeah.
there, but in between times it's good for me to read good quality fiction, that that is going to inspire me as a writer. I don't know if there's anything. Oh yeah, did I mention thumbnails?
No, you didn't mention them. No,
Okay,
go ahead.
so that's something that you can do whether you draw or you paint. You can do little thumbnail sketches. Now, if you're an artist, you know exactly what I'm talking about, a thumbnail sketch. You take and you just, like you can draw a little square. You can draw a whole bunch of little squares on a piece of paper and then just do a really rough sketch of what you want to do. Or you can look at, we took an art course with Morag Weatherstone. She's one of our members. We took an art course with her last Saturday, and she took, there are actually mats, like for a frame, a mat. And she took the mats with a small opening, and she had us take a photograph and place the mat in different areas of the photograph to find the best composition. And then she had us do little thumbnail sketches of that.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a thumbnail sketch is supposed to be something that you do like within 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes. It's not a detailed drawing, but you could do something like that. So like maybe while you're waiting for supper to cook or something, you could just sit down and take the photos that you collected on your walk and just see what kind of compositions you can come up with, do really quick little thumbnail sketches. So maybe this is like 15 minutes that you could do, just something to keep the creative juices flowing.
And with me, my drawings, I have elements of my drawing that I practice to draw on, so I can get it just the way. So I'll take time doing that. It might not be directly on the drawing like this, but on a piece of scrap paper. And it's sort of like thumbnailing. I'll practice and practice till I get to the point where and that really gets me inspired too. Once I'm like, okay, I got it, and then I can move on to putting it into the image, like you see here, the different ones.
And sometimes for as a writer, sometimes if I'm not really feeling a certain character or setting, I will sit down and just write a little conversation or pretend I'm that character and do a little journaling of that character, or just kind of write some descriptive scenes of the setting that I'm describing, because I do create whole worlds and things. So those are little things that as a writer that I can do to help boost that inspiration if I'm just not feeling it, research. I think you kind of mentioned that.
I do research, especially if there's something I'm not familiar with drawing. I'm still learning different things. I can draw a hand well, but there's like drawing the eye, the birds, people. I do research now to draw that, or research on the whole atmosphere of the theme of the drawing. I'm doing like mine a lot of biblical time, so I do research on the environment, the clothing, the utensil cups, whatever people wore in those days. So
another idea for art is to just try a new technique. Try something you haven't done before, like look around your household or your kitchen and grab some bubble wrap or packaging or something, and just put some paint on it and slap it on it. Have an art journal, have scrap pieces of paper, do collage, just to do something, so to just feed your soul, that creative soul.
Something that you're saying, like, it's something that you don't normally do. It just kind of changes things up and gets you a fresh perspective. And then that'll just take your mind off what you used to do, and then when you want to go back to it, then you have
and just for fun, like experimentation is how anyone, whether you're an inventor or an artist or a mathematician or whatever, experimentation is how we discover things that we wouldn't otherwise discover. So if you're always like within this little box of, this is what I have to do, this is how I was trained to do art, and there's no other way. If you never, I guess, color outside the lines, then you're not going to find out what's out there. You're not going to find out that weird thing. Like Matt Tommy If you don't know who Matt Tommy is, Google it. You'll find tons of stuff. He's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
We're big fans, and he's a mentor for us. We're actually in the mentoring group that he has. Just free advertising there, Matt. You're welcome. One of his testimonies is that he makes basket sculptures. And so one time he was doing one of his baskets, and Holy Spirit just spoke to him and said, squish it. And he went, what? Squish it. And so he squished it. This basket he'd been working for hours and hours on, he squished it. And it sparked something in him, and he started doing weird stuff. And that's when I think that's when he started doing the basket sculptures that, they go for thousands of dollars. These are beautiful sculptures. And he started to incorporate encaustic medium into it and everything. So experimentation is so important. And if every time, and I've done this to myself, every time you think, if I create something, whether it's writing or drawing or painting or whatever, if I create something, it has to be something that I can sell. Otherwise, it's not valid.
Yep.
Right. And that is the wrong mindset. That will stifle your creativity like so badly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't do that. Experiment, play, have fun, and yes, schedule that time. Prioritize. Give yourself permission to make it a priority. Make it a priority. Schedule the time, and do something. Whether it's going for a walk and looking at things that maybe you can paint, or watching a painting tutorial, or doodling, or something that trying a new technique, all these different things. And if you have any ideas, please put them in the comments, because we would love to hear them. If you have any suggestions for future topics that we can discuss, please also put them in the comments. And on YouTube, because we will be on YouTube, please give us the thumbs up. And on Facebook and Instagram too, give us a like. And
subscribe to
YouTube. Yes. Thank you very much. And for all the birthday wishes you're going to give me, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm having a great day. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.